weather. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. Welcome to 1 Million Cups Little Rock. My name's Tim Freeman. I'm one of the organizers here. Show of hands, anyone here first time? Because I do see what look like a few new faces. Yeah, cool. All right, right on. Thank you for you guys. Thanks for joining us. Did everybody get coffee? Coffee? Anybody that wants coffee got coffee? If you're not aware that there's coffee, there's coffee. 1 Million Cups is an initiative of the Kauffman Foundation out of Kansas City. It's about 2 years old. We brought 1 Million Cups to Little Rock about 1.5 years ago. It's predicated on the idea that if we share 1 million cups of coffee, we're going to restart our economy from the entrepreneurial level. So we're real excited to be able to have this event here in Little Rock. Thanks to the Venture Center for hosting us. I have the pleasure this morning of introducing my friend Susie Cowan, and she is going to tell us about Little Rock Local First, which is a support organization for Arkansas businesses. So I'm not going to waste any more of your time. I'm going to go ahead and bring on Susie. Give her a hand. Woo!
Good morning, good morning. Can y'all hear me? Yes, there it is. So I'm so excited to be here today to finally be presenting Local First Arkansas. We've been having this conversation for a long time, and I have patiently been waiting for this moment to present it to 1 Million Cups, because you'll find out here in a minute, this conversation actually started at 1 Million Cups. So this is me. I'm Susie Cowan. I got into, I guess the word would be localism, through Legends of Arkansas. In 2013, we decided to start an all Arkansas Music and Art Festival to promote our friends, musicians and artists, and we're working on our 4th year right now. It's coming up September 10th, and it'll be located over in Argenta. Through this process, I learned my passion for economic development through community development. And so we are using the fun of an art and music festival to bring our business owners out to meet other business owners and also their consumers. And when you meet somebody, you tend to want to support them a little more. So that's the whole concept behind Legends of Arkansas. And that's what brought us here today to this point that we're at right now. In 2014, I was working at a store right down the street, literally. It's right next to Cash, called Freckled Frog. My 2 best friends own it, and it's an all Arkansas gift shop. They represent over 50 local artists. One day, this energetic young man came in by the name of Mike Steely, and he asked the story of the business. And he was there on account for 1 Million Cups. And so I told him the story of Freckled Frog. I told him the story of the Dandelion. And before he walked out the door, of course, I told him all about Legends of Arkansas. And he said, okay, you're coming with me. You're going to meet me at the chamber at 9 a.m. on a Wednesday morning. And I thought, I don't do anything at 9 a.m. ever, repetitively. That's just not the kind of world I live in. But I was very curious. So I went to check it out. And here we are, almost 2 years later, and I'm still coming every Wednesday. I absolutely love 1 Million Cups. But the conversation of Local First Arkansas happened in my huddle hour sitting at the chamber. And Mike Steely told me, you're going to help us start Local First Arkansas. And I looked at him like, do I look like I need one more thing to do? But he was right, because here we are. So that conversation was at the chamber, made its way over here to the Venture Center, and about the same time those conversations were happening, Mr. Pat Riley had just taken a group of 12 to Oakland to the Ballet Conference, which is, they're beingalocalist.org, but I'm going to mess up the name. It's that's it. Business Alliance for Local Living Economy, and I would mess it up every single time. I should have put that on the slideshow. So at the same time we were having these conversations between me and Mike Steely and 1 Million Cups and our friends, the conversation between Pat and the 12 that went to Ballet were going on as well. During that time period, we contacted Local First Arkansas because we are modeled directly after Local First Arizona. I'm sorry, I meant to say Local First Arizona. They are the largest business alliance, independent business alliance in the world now. They have over 2,500 businesses, and they are statewide, which makes them a little different than most business alliances. Like, for instance, Boston has 10, and they're done by neighborhood. So then they all work together to do big events. But ours is modeled after Arizona, so we are statewide. So these conversations led us to the hub where now Local First Arkansas is housed out of the hub. The Delta Regional Authority, the Arkansas Community Foundation, the Arkansas Economic Development Commission, Small Business Administration, the Arkansas State Chamber. This is just a few examples of the people that we've talked to in the past 2 years, because this conversation has been going on for 2 years. That's why I'm so excited to finally be standing here. And this has led us to where we are today. So what is Local First Arkansas? We are a member-based support organization for local businesses in Arkansas. So through technology, creative marketing, educational programming, and community events, Local First Arkansas strives to level the playing field for our local businesses. Ultimately, our goal is to drive revenue to our businesses, help create more living wage jobs, and promote a healthy local economy. That just kind of breaks it down to our ultimate goals. So you ask yourself, why do we need something like this? Like, what is it going to do for our businesses? Well, here's the benefits that the members will get. The business membership is only $125 a year because it's going to be subsidized through government grants. And this is what they're going to get. And if you own a small business, you know $125 for 12 months of marketing and advertising is a very small fee, especially when you're talking about a list of benefits like this. So there's going to be an optimized business listing on the Local First Arkansas online directory. We're building that right now. We're looking at an August 1st launch date for our directory. And so there's multiple benefits to this directory. For people like you and I that love our local businesses and want to support our local businesses, we'll be able to go on there and find, the local dry cleaner. Or I always use the example, the place to go get your oil change, because I know nothing about cars. I know nothing about where to get my oil changed. I don't know who's a franchise. I don't know who's local. This directory will just make it really easy for people that are trying to live local. They can look it up and say, oh, there's one in my neighborhood, and they know that it's a local business. But it has a very broader spectrum for people traveling through Arkansas, and they want to go where the locals go. They can type in Little Rock restaurants, and they're going to get a list of our local restaurants and not the big franchises. And, I always use the joke that people don't go to New Orleans to eat at Red Lobster. It's not why you go there. Well, we're hoping when people drive through Little Rock, they're looking for the best cheese dip. So our list will lead them to our local places. Substantial discounts with our local media partners for marketing and advertising, that's going to be a pretty cool arrangement. Because it kind of takes the guesswork out of, for the businesses, what is local? And when you're spending your advertising dollars, are you reinvesting it back into your community? So the next benefit is in rotation for the featured business. So we'll have featured business stories because I've learned through 1 Million Cups that a business's story is that's where it's at. That's where their power's at. That's when people hear your story, they want to support you. They want to be a part of what you're doing. Business listing on the local app. So the local magazine has a brand new app. Y'all should go and download it. It's for the iPhones and the Androids. And on there, they have a local business directory that we're just going to keep on growing. Connection to locally minded business owners. Access to educational program. The educational program is going to be really cool stuff. It's going to be really useful stuff because for the past 2 years, officially we were a meetup, which is like an online platform, and we've been meeting in the back of Dugan's Pub and Kent Walker's Artisan Cheese and different local places like that. And during that time, we've asked these business owners, what are the type of things that what are the sore points? What do you need help with? And so through the past 2 years, we've come up with a great list of different educational programs that we're going to do. And we have a lot of experts right on our board that are going to lead these to begin with. Sponsorship opportunities, monthly newsletter, and then the localist. That's a kind of a cool theory, and this comes directly from Local First Arizona. For $25 a year, you can be a localist. And with that, you get participation and free admission into select local events, connection to fellow localists, monthly newsletter, and you're showing your support for your local business community. And all of that is very important. And I will say that the value of that will be returned very soon because everybody that signs up for this is going to get, we know right off the bat, the VIP passes to Legends of Arkansas, and those are worth $40 each. So you'll get your money's worth right off the bat with that. So why? Why do we need this? What's the big deal about Well, the big deal about is when you go to a locally owned business and you spend, well, let's just use $100 because it's easy. $73 is going to stay in your local economy. That's going to go right back into the pool of money for your local economy. $27 is going to leave. When you go to a big box store, $57 leaves the community. It's a big difference. So only 43 stays. It's a big difference. But to answer this in one word, it's awareness. Local First Arkansas is going to bring awareness to the impact that local businesses bring to our community. The uniqueness of the authenticity of our city lies with our local businesses. When people move away from places and they reminisce, they're going to talk about their favorite local restaurants, their favorite place to go see local music, their favorite things. And most of the time, they're going to be talking about locally owned businesses. This is my favorite quote, absolutely favorite quote, and this kind of summarizes everything that we're trying to do. Every time you spend your money, you're casting a vote for the type of world you want. So do we want streets filled with big neon signs and restaurants that you are the same in every single city? No identity at all? Or do we want neighborhoods like Argenta and Soma, where it's full of locally owned businesses and that are employing people and paying them a living wage? They don't need government assistance. They don't need a second job, because locally owned businesses tend to understand that people need to make a living. And so they support that. So yeah, thanks for coming out. That's Local First Arkansas.
Thank you, Susie. So now we're going to open up to questions. We've got a 10, 15-minute Q&A session. Who's on deck? That's correct.
My name is Freddie Smith. My question is, how are you keeping like franchise businesses off of the local list? Like I know like Subway, you know, they say I'm locally owned,
Yes.
but it's still Subway.
It is. And, you know, we had this conversation for a long time because they are independent business owners, the franchise owners, but they get support from their home office with marketing, and then they have to pay a fee out of state to most of those corporate offices. So we have eligibility requirements, and so it has to be, we can take franchises, but the home office has to be in Arkansas because we are promoting Arkansas business.
Thurlow Cobb, you were mentioning that this is based on the model from Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
So from the time that it began in Arizona to now, obviously there are some results and some growth and some things that have been observed. What does that look like there to kind of give us an idea of what this could look like here?
It's changed the whole climate of small business in Arizona. By connecting the business owners, just by having the alliance of business owners, that changes everything. Just when you look at it from an advertising perspective, when you get 100 people together, you can afford a lot of advertising. When you get 2,500 together, you can kind of dominate it. So it's a lot easier to level the playing field. I don't know another way to say it, but level the playing field against the big box stores that they have endless money, and these small businesses do not. And so it's just a power of numbers. Yeah. And then with the technology side of it, that's the one thing that makes this a little different than a lot of the business alliances. And I think that's why Arizona has had so much success, is because of the robust platform that is behind the directory.
I got another question, Frederick Smith again. With the local force, first, are you also teaming up with local artists, like for the marketing and advertising? Keep everything in-house?
The first thing I did was went and hired a local web designer and a local marketing company. That's the first thing I did. So yes, absolutely.
So they're the ones that do all the advertising and marketing for the local first?
Yes.
Or, okay.
Yes.
What's the name of the company?
Exit Marketing is our marketing company, and Manette Web is our web designer. Yeah, and that was a very exciting day.
Any other questions? Joe? Mr. Joe Calhoun, everyone.
From your experience now, as I guess you're probably a serial entrepreneur at this time.
I've been called that a time or
There
two.
you go. What nugget would you convey to these folks about really you've apparently been bootstrapping it the whole way. I don't know how much funding you've been seeking. Can you describe a few things, the tricks of the trade that you might tell?
Work. That's it. You got to work. You got to work hard. In fact, my necklace says "Hail the Hustle." That was the logo at the Entrepreneurship weekend in New Orleans here recently. And I wear this necklace to remind me that, that's all that's going to get it done. There's nothing else that is going to get any of this accomplished other than hard work. No, we do not have any corporate sponsors. We do not have any, big dollars flowing in. We received our first round of funding on April 1st that started all of this for 3 months of operations. And now we're working every day to try to make sure that that funding keeps rolling, as well as generate revenue. We have a 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 financial model. So we're 1/3 revenue of memberships and events, 1/3 government grants, and 1/3 private donations. So yeah, the answer to that is work.
Any other questions? All right.
Daphne Davenport. Can you talk a little more about what local businesses do for a community? Just the impact that it makes buying there instead of just what it does socially, culturally, whatever.
Oh, that's a hard one because to me it's everything. Local business defines who we are as a community. It's kind of like going to New Orleans or he mentioned yesterday at Fort Walton Beach, driving by the Red Lobster and seeing it full of people, and you're wondering, what the heck are they doing?
Well, this is Walmart country. So
It
I know
is.
you've been asked this, and
It
I know
is.
you have a good response to that, because it can drive out small businesses and has. And so what do you say about that?
I say that the trend is turning. I don't know if you've read the latest, but Walmarts are actually closing. McDonald's are actually closing. Small businesses on the rise. People are starting to realize that they like things that are original and authentic. And they don't want stuff that's cookie cutter. And people are starting to realize that if they can get it locally, they're supporting their friends and neighbors. They're supporting their own economy.
Instead of the money going to wealthy, it can go to a
Yeah,
broader-
I know you've seen that sign that says when you shop at a small business, you're actually paying for a little girl's dance lessons. That's the truth.
You're increasing the middle class.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Increasing the availability to have a living wage. A lot of those big box stores, not to call anyone out, but they have to have a second job or they have to have government assistance to live. And I know my husband has worked at a locally owned business that has been family owned and operated for 58 years. And, they know the difference. They know that they need to pay their employees a certain amount so that they can live. They don't think like that at big box stores. So I think that's the difference.
Another question?
Hey,
Hey.
sorry I'm late to the party, but to that point for local and the reinvestment in the community, do you go into showcasing the investment in the small business or what that means for that community? You go into the expressing what the benefits are and then the impact of what that is for either for tax income for the local government or things like that? I mean, what levels of detail do you go into promoting local first to back into the community?
So
continually
here in the
showcasing that?
beginning, we're going to strictly focus on the businesses. In the future, I can see some advocacy in our future, but for the first year especially, we're going to completely focus on the businesses. The awareness of knowing who they are, where they are, and helping them tell their stories. Because I think that's what makes all the difference. So yes, Corey, to answer your question, in the future, we will dive a little deeper, but for this first year, we're going to completely focus on the businesses.
My name is Jeremy Smith. Two questions. One, you talked a lot about technology. Maybe you could expand upon that a minute. And then also, where do you go to sign up and what the process is? Unless
Yeah.
maybe I was asleep. Maybe you said that already, but
I don't think I have. Thank you for asking that. So the technology side of this is our website. And we just finished phase 1. We did our soft launch on the 15th of this month. The hard launch is actually not till next Wednesday. Press conference is next Tuesday. So all of this information is very new. The technology, the website, the directory, the SEO that's behind it. Arizona basically told us what they wish they would have done from the beginning. So we're building this with a lot of information of the future, of what's going to happen in a few years as we grow. So that's helped us a lot in building the foundation for our website. And then we're going to put a massive machine behind it to push it on the internet, partnering with Google, different approaches like that. So to sign up, you go to localfirstar.com, and it's right there on the front. It says join us, join the movement, because that's right, we're a movement. It's not complicated at all. You hit join, and then you get a verification email, and there's a big green button that says verify and pay. We are doing our best to make it as easy as possible.
All right, any other questions?
Jason Brown. So thanks for being here today. It's been a pleasure hearing you. But quick question. So you talked a lot about retail-oriented businesses, and I'm sure that's where your focus is, at least for launch. But what about service industry or technology or, you know, anything like that that also
Yes.
qualifies as local? Or are you interested in those for now?
Absolutely, absolutely. And we do know, because we have a model to go by, a very successful model, that the restaurant and the retail entertainment industry is who's going to benefit the most from all this. But yes, attorneys, accountants, service industry, like I said, I'm really looking forward to the dry cleaners being on there, the oil change people being on there. It takes all the thinking out of it for people like me. So yes, we anybody that is locally owned has a home office in Arkansas. I think it's 50% or more of the decision-making power is in Arkansas. But the eligibility requirements are right there on the website.
Hey, this is a question from Todd Jones watching online, and he asked,
Hey, Todd.
I think this is, you kind of answered this, but is this only for Little Rock or other central Arkansas towns?
We are going to start our focus in Little Rock and North Little Rock, but this is a statewide program. So we will, within 3 months, we will be branching out, and within 1 year, we should be statewide.
Lots of questions today. It's good.
Hello,
Hi.
Catherine Shoulders. Do you have a system for ranking the businesses, like review, like Yelp has a review system, so that you've sort of got like a self-governing best practice kind of? Have you thought about that?
We don't yet, but that sounds like a great idea. Sounds like a great idea. We have talked about like having like how local are you symbol, like for people that are really local. I think Bo came up with the golden carrot for people like the Root Cafe, for the Green Corner Store, for the Freckled Frog, for people that source all as much locally as they can, having a little symbol for them. But that's a great idea for the future. Thank you for that.
Any other questions? Fiona?
So, Iana Mitchell with My Color Beauty. My question is, what is the benefit of a business joining Local First versus a Chamber of Commerce or another entity like that? Because we're all small businesses here, and $125 a month is, like you said, a little girl's dance lesson. So it's a decision that we'll have to make, is why should we choose Local First?
Because we're locally focused. None of the other entities that you're talking about are locally focused. And so all of our educational series are going to be about small local businesses.
Yeah. It's 125 a year, right?
Correct, correct.
Okay, I think you said it was 125 a month.
No, it's 125 a year.
Yeah.
Thanks for catching that, Freddie. Yeah. 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 So that's the
Car
difference, is that we're locally focused.
Any other questions? Anyone? Going once? Okay, well, we have a question for you. We always wrap up with one very important question. And I think the answer is pretty straightforward, but I bet you got something else on deck. What can our community, what can we in this room do to support and help move Local First along?
Go to our website and sign up. If you don't want to sign up your business, you can sign up as a localist.
So it's separate. So you can do localist 25.
Yep, the localist is just for an individual, and that can be anybody. There is no eligibility requirements for a localist. Anybody that wants to support us and support local business in Arkansas and help us support local business in Arkansas can sign up as a localist, and it's $25 a year. And then the business membership is $125 a year, but that's for 12 months of advertising and marketing and educational programming.
Cool. Well, that's it for 1 Million Cups today. Thank you everyone for coming out. Quick announcement.